Evening, everybody. Welcome back to an unscheduled Gooner Gathering. I am your host, Goonerly Meads, and I'm here all alone. But what I'd like to do right now, if anyone wants to jump in today, let me just make sure that clears. There we go. Who's in? An error has occurred. No, that's fine. We have the link in the chat. So if anyone is here and wants to have a little chat with me, let's go and do it. That'd be absolutely cool. So what I wanted to do is just have an pretty much an instant kind of reaction. We're probably going to schedule a stream in tomorrow where I'm going to have some of the panel in. Hopefully, I can have Fran and Sam. Perhaps we'll see how it all goes. But I just wanted to jump in, say hello to everybody, and see where we go. On the back of a couple of very, very good performances from England in terms of results, anyway, to pick up 6 points out of 6 in the Euro qualifying campaign is an excellent start. Let's sort of start up with Thursday, shall we? Actually, I might have in the back end. Let me just have a look because I think. No, maybe I don't. No, I don't. Okay, never mind. So let's talk about how England started very strong against Italy on Thursday. They played some lovely football. Very much to start off with. They were very quick, and of course Declan Rice got the opening goal, which was quite nice for him because he kind of silenced one Graham Souness and his somewhat he's not a complete midfield player kind of comment he came up with a little while ago during the World Cup. I thought he came on. He was instrumental in England's performance on Thursday. He obviously got on a rebound. I think it was off Harry Kane's shot, which fell to him, and he just finished it like a natural striker. It was fantastic for him. Then, of course, Harry Kane managed to score a penalty a bit later on. Hello, Niall Kane. Welcome. Let me just pop that comment on. Here we go. He says, "Good evening, Lee. Great win for England. I'm happy for Scotland winning. We have Spain on Tuesday. Tierney played the whole game yesterday. It's interesting to know." Thank you, Niall. And welcome to the chat. It's nice to have you there, mate. For the England penalty, which actually the actual incident, I can't quite remember off the top of my head because this is such a off the top of my head broadcast. But I do recall the guts that Harry Kane had to come and take that penalty. It certainly, as you might have seen on my reaction of Kane scoring that penalty, it was very much in my mind what happened in the Euros against France. But fair play to him. He showed character. He does what the England captain does, and he puts the penalty away for 2-0. I would say for the performance on Thursday, very much in the second half, I thought they did fall away a little bit. Obviously, Italy got their goal as well. I thought the ref was a little bit out of line in giving the 2 yellow cards to Luke Shaw. The first yellow was given for a bit of time wasting on the throw on, which I thought was a bit of a joke, to be honest. He'd never done any fouls at all or anything like that. I don't even think he was wasting time, to be honest. He was just getting the ball ready to take that throw on. But then sort of about 50 odd seconds later, he did make a silly foul, which did warrant a yellow card. But then, of course, that led to the red, led to a few tactical changes from Gareth, which meant that Reece James came on, amongst others. But England managed to see it through, and that's for England to win in Italy, I think, was massive. And then we come over to today. Big match, very emotional match in the stadium at Wembley tonight. We've had this obviously with the more important stuff that's going on in the Ukraine at the moment, it's quite nice that we had a very full stadium all applauding and respecting the opponents, and just the general atmosphere at Wembley was fantastic. And it was nice to see. There was a few changes, obviously. We had Ben Chilwell playing at left back today because, of course, Luke Shaw was suspended. James Maddison, who I was really calling for to start a match-up. He was in the starting 11, possibly with the fact that Phil Foden is in hospital at the moment, having he's recovering from his appendix coming out, and we send best wishes to him, of course. But Maddison done very well, I thought, on the left-hand side. He was, he had a few shots. He fit nicely in that left-hand side. I think his relationship or past relationship with Ben Chilwell probably helped him quite a lot. They played together at Leicester for a little bit. So, do you know, that probably helped a little thing for him. Other changes, let me just try and think. I think Henderson came back into the midfield for the Manchester City player that used to play for Leeds, I can't quite remember, but yes, I can. It's Kelvin Phillips. There we go. Do you know what? Henderson does what Henderson does. I thought he was a solid enough player in the midfield. Done pretty good. Done pretty good. I think for some, the opening part of that, the opening 15 minutes of today's game, I felt that it was quite an even contest, but the Ukrainians couldn't quite get that shot away to beat Pickford. I thought Mudryk looked a bit of a threat for some of the game. He certainly showed plenty of pace, but I thought he was quite well dealt with. I don't even think that they had a shot on target in the whole game. But let's go to the England goals. Let's just say how important Bukayo Saka was, first and foremost, as we are an Arsenal channel. Bukayo, I think we're all of us as Arsenal fans will be looking today's game with our eyes kind of like this, thinking, "Oh goodness me!" Especially, he is so important for Arsenal. We kind of want him to be wrapped in cotton wool, but he's so important for that England side. He was out there for the whole game today, and he started quite well. And he received a pass on the right hand side, which he crossed towards Harry Kane. Harry actually broke the England goal scoring record today, which is fantastic. No, he didn't. He did that last game, but adding to the record of the England's record goal scorer, he did fantastic. And then, of course, about 4 minutes later, I think this was about the 30th minute of the game, Saka's wand of a left foot come up with a long distance finish, which we've seen him do for so many times, especially in the red of Arsenal. He just come out with a spectacular left foot drive, which just led to the second goal and pretty much game over. It was great to see, and there we are. So I would suggest the second half possibly wasn't as exciting as it could have been, but importantly, there was a couple of things that come out of it for me. They kept professional. They sort of weathered the storm somewhat, and they kept the clean sheet, and they ended up with the 3 points. Ivan Toney played the last 10 minutes. That's, I think, a debut for him. Interesting that he called upon the Brentford man. He becomes only the third Brentford man to represent England and the first since about the 1930s. So, what he said the other day, I still think he's a little bit lucky to be there, but in terms of his footballing ability and his actual skill on the pitch, and his goal-scoring ability. Do you know what? I think he's only second to City's Haaland in terms of the goals scored in the Premier League. You can't argue with that. And do you know what? A general, all-round, decent, if not spectacular, performance from England. I want to bring up another real positive point in Jude Bellingham, who I felt was pretty dominant. I felt today. You've got to pinch yourself and remind yourself that the kid's so young still. But as he showed in the World Cup, as he showed in previous matches, he is an absolute class above. And I think it really helped him that he was playing alongside a very experienced, in a guy in Jordan Henderson, and then of course with Declan Rice in that midfield as well. He's only going to get better and better. What I kind of don't understand is, there's of course a lot of talk with Bellingham whether he will make a move to the Premier League. Of course, there's a lot of talk about him going to Liverpool, but I'm not quite sure why Dortmund would want to sell an asset like that. Look, it's just my feeling is that when you have a special talent, as Bellingham is to Dortmund, as Saka is to Arsenal, I don't know why they would want to sell him unless he's requested a move, unless he wants to get back to the United Kingdom. Of course, he used to play in the youth ranks at Manchester City, but never really got on the field, I don't think, at the Etihad. So I don't know if he's homesick or something, but that's just my views on that one. Now, if anyone is watching and wants to jump in on the stream, the StreamYard link is there. You guys all know me and you know how our channel works. So if you could hit the like button, hit the share button, and if you wanted to join and have a little chat with me about Arsenal, about England, about anything you've seen in the international break, you're absolutely welcome. You've got the StreamYard link in the chat. I'll bring up another story which has really come to light over the last couple of days, and it is in relation to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And the situation with him is that Chelsea seemingly are, according to a journalist who I don't want to quote because I can't remember his name, but there's a lot of talk about him looking to get his contract cancelled. Now, very interesting that about a year and 3-4 months after he managed to negotiate his exit from Arsenal to Barcelona, and initially that move to Barcelona went pretty good for Aubameyang, but for some reason, I know Barcelona financially are having a little struggle. They decided to release him, and he ended up at Chelsea. And him thinking perhaps he'd work with his old boss in Thomas Tuchel, that went well. I think he was gone within about one match that Aubameyang played. And sorry, let me just take. Oh, that shouldn't have happened. I hope you're still with me. There we go. I think we're still with me. Thomas Tuchel left Chelsea, of course, and he's been left out, of course, of the Chelsea's Champions League squad. I don't think he's played a minute for quite a while, and him looking to negotiate his exit is a sad decline on an undoubtable, really good player whose attitude I always felt, and I felt for a while, for all the talent that the guy had, his actual attitude towards his teammates and potentially the club that he was working for, he always felt to me like he felt he was bigger than that club. but there you have it. We'll see how this story develops on Aubameyang in the near future, I'm sure. I'll go to Phil Foden and his situation with the fact that he was in training with England on Saturday. He reported that something wasn't right, I believe, over this morning. He's had surgery to remove his appendix. Of course, we want to send him best wishes, but it sounds like he's doubtful for City's next game against Liverpool over the weekend. That's on Saturday. So that's an interesting one to just keep an eye on. I want to give a little bit of my opinion on one Mesut Ozil before I go this evening. And again, the link's still in the chat, guys, if you want to jump in. Mesut Ozil this week has announced his retirement from professional football. So, if we remember, I remember we were in a pretty bad place as Arsenal fans, and I would suggest that when that talk on that deadline day of Ozil possibly joining at the club, there was a lot of excitement there. Undoubtedly, Ozil had something a little bit special about him. Maybe a little bit uncharacteristic for I don't want to stereotype a player or anything like that, but when you think of a fully fledged German international, you don't necessarily think of flair. You think of efficiency. You think about getting a job done, grinding out a win, or something along them lines. With Mesut, he had that little touch of flair, that little bit of he could do something a little bit different. And you know what? He couldn't have started any better for Arsenal. I believe he had a couple of assists on his debut, and I believe he tore up records in 2016 without looking at any notes in front of me in terms of the amount of assists that he got during that season. A guy that very much would have divided opinion on the fan base, absolutely. Certainly one who sometimes would, I guess we felt would go missing for quite a time. But, you know, it's kind of sad to see him retire at 34. You can remember that there are certain goals. There's a goal against Liverkrantz, I think it was, which was outstanding. I recall. There's moments. There's a header I think he had against Leicester potentially. He was one of those who was a bit of a maverick. Had his political views, and his exit from Arsenal did end up being a little bit messy. But I think maybe in terms of the profile of the club, perhaps his move to Arsenal was quite, I would say successful-ish in that it kind of raised the level, if you get what I mean, and in that a club that was struggling for a time brought Mesut in, and he was the one that got the fans excited. I've seen quite a lot of lovely tributes. Let me just have a little drink because I've been talking for 20 minutes. Just give me 2 seconds. Thank you. Quite a lot of nice messages from some of his former teammates. And I know Sam Wilson's going to say, I hope you wouldn't mention his name. But Alexis Sanchez on his Twitter account said that had such a lovely understanding with him, and good luck, my brother, and all that sort of stuff. Theo Walcott, similarly nice words. it seems like, and Danny Welbeck actually just come to me. I know I saw a tweet from Danny that he appreciated his work with him, and sure would have. Yeah, I'm sure he would have been fun to work with. That's for sure. So, whatever Mesut does in the future, we wish him well. In terms of our regular content, I'm kind of hoping that we can do a stream probably about 7 o'clock tomorrow over on our YouTube channel. Hopefully, we can break down the games from both the England games, potentially any other Arsenal players who have been playing in international games. There was a massive performance which I want to sort of save for another time, but we had a North London derby over the weekend, and the Arsenal ladies were phenomenal and beat Spurs 5-1 at Leyton Orient. But until we cover all that, I'm going to jump off because I'm about to start coughing and choking. I'm sure that won't make very good viewing. So until next time, look after yourselves, take care, and we'll see you later next week.